So if you haven't already listened to the first part of our conversation with Dr. Jody, be sure to go back and listen. Just an incredible conversation. Dr. Jody, she's an author, several national bestsellers, including another book called Kids These Days. I know that's the same title as our co-host Betsy Butter. She also authored the book Feeling Seen. She is a huge advocate for the idea that leaders must regulate themselves first before they can lead anyone else. And she is honest, very raw honesty there, incredibly practical insights, especially in today's episode. I really enjoyed her insights around relationship building. And for me, I find her quite funny. She's got a great sense of humor, actually. So welcome back to the Coaching Culture Podcast. My name is JP Nurbin. I'm an executive coach and facilitator, and I work with leaders and teams who want to be high performance. I started this podcast in 2017 as I wanted to share my journey with others, my journey to grow as a leader and build stronger teams. And I'm incredibly grateful to have shared it with all of you that are listeners throughout this journey. And one of the big things that I've done since 2017 is I've had that weekly newsletter. It has the notes to each episode and an article. I've recently started to combine as well a practical tool or resource that is often a resource or tool that we find inside our coaches community, the TOC coach community. So if you'd like to get that each week, not just an article, not just the notes to the episode, but to get a very practical tool, like most recently we had one there on surveys that you can send out to your athletes to kind of start to hit the reset button on your culture. We just have different player development plan templates. There's just so many different things that we have in our coaches library, and we're taking those and we're sharing those each week with you in the newsletter. So be sure to subscribe there. Now let's get into my conversation with Dr. Jody. There's something I want to go back to right there. So many things I'd like to talk to you about, but I'm going to pull out a few things here. One is, you talked about the coach and and just a parent, just as human beings, our attention is fragmented. And I know that many, as you walk through that, just that first few minutes of a life, that many would do resonate with that. They would see themselves in that. I'd actually say I'm proud. I don't have my phone next to my bed. It's downstairs. I use a traditional alarm clock. I'm not on Instagram. I'm not on social media. I do have emails, but I have a blocker thing. I have to do a mindfulness thing for 20 seconds to unlock the emails. So I don't check my emails all the time. Though, to your point, I'm constantly berated with text messages from my kids' teams, from clients, from friends and family, and just super connected. So I still, with all the hacks that I have, still feel massively overwhelmed by my attention being fragmented. And that does feel heavy. And you describe those moments where you snap at your kids, don't ask me that dumb question. Like, oh my gosh, like that resonates so deeply. And so I struggle with that. So what do we do? What do we do? And we can create these hacks. I'm continuing to create these little barriers and things to try to disconnect. Help me. I'm still struggling here.
Yeah, I know that's the greatest question of all time. And if I think, so Jonathan Haidt's work he wrote The Anxious Generation. So he's really focused a lot on, what really are kids up against. And we have to be having these conversations. And my big take is sort of the opposite to his, which is I'm concerned about the kids. Yes, we don't have a prefrontal cortex that's ready for us, but I am more interested in the adults. I'm more interested in the coaches, and we're not talking about that. So to your point, it's like we are not having those conversations about what do we do in senior leadership positions to be able to have those conversations so that I have access to the best parts of me so that I can give that to my team, that I can give that to, I mean, I know you've done this too, but I've sat in leadership rooms where people have built multi-billion-dollar organizations, and they are now in senior leadership positions and are overwhelmed by the questions like, how do we do this? What happens? What's the metric? And they're just like, God, just do it. But it's interesting, right? You have to be able to show them. And so some of the best interventions, and this is not an answer to your question yet, I'm going to get there, I promise. Some of the best interventions is really sort of getting back into the physical presence of other people so we can help them co-regulate. The biggest answer to all of this, though, is you and me. If I were to talk about any organizations that need the priorities, and this is, on a team, on a big corporate level, is you, your teams, and then the people you serve in that order. You, your teams, and then your team, your coaching staff, and then your players. Okay. In
Mm-hmm.
that,
Mm-hmm.
that's never ever been the hierarchy before, right? We're worried about the kids, the players, our who we're serving, our clients, our customers. They're first all the time. No. If we switch that, then the question becomes, okay, what is this? So for a long time, what does this me looking after me look like? We have made an attempt in the last 5 years to talk about self-care, which is bullshit because you can drink all the kale and do all, okay? And if you do that
Amen.
if you do that in a dysregulated body, it's a waste of time. Okay.
100%.
So you're in a gym going like, oh yeah, worked out. So there's really this gap in understanding what it means to be regulated or mentally well. Okay. And if I take you through, there's sort of in the next book that I'm writing, it's really about, okay, so what is the script? What is the liberation for the brilliant, the broken, and the bone tired? That's you and me, okay? Because we're like, whoa, this massive responsibility now as a parent and a grandparent to be able to like, oh, show the children. And we're tired too because we're always on our phones, right? So the interesting thing for me is this. I think about it like this in 3 ways. You go in, you go out, and you put that on relentless repeat. That's how the human operating system is developed. It's as simple as that. You go in, you go out, and you put that on relentless repeat. If I were to explain to you go in, it means really, I would demonstrate to you what it means to regulate a nervous system. And you know how to do this, JP, because you've done this very well. We just don't know how to articulate it. So I'll show you it real quick. Okay. So if you're listening to this, do this with me right now. Drop your shoulders. Drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. So, or release your jaw. Our most primitive response to stress, remember the human operating system is the same as our great, great, great grandparents right now. We lock our jaw because in our bones, our ancestors live. And they would lock their jaw for hand-to-hand combat to keep each other safe. Okay, so you would hear the bad guys coming over the hills and you would be like, We still respond in that way when we get stressed. But what locks our jaw now is an email notification, is a watch buzz. And so we spend the vast majority of our days locked here. In fact, the Dental Association of both your country and mine have put out lots of reports talking about the massive increase in TMJ. People are now getting Botox injected into their jaws because they don't understand why there's so much pain right here. Because from a neurophysiological perspective, we spend the day like this, which indicates to our body, be ready, but bad things are coming, okay? Spike cortisol. So drop on purpose, shoulders, jaw, wiggle your toes, and let your gut out. That's a relaxed body. We spend very little time here. What'll happen is if you actually followed those prompts, you may get tired. Some people even start to cry, but you get tired because we've had no permission to pause.
Yeah.
When you do that, what happens is this is the heart of all trauma work. If I do a good trauma session with somebody and I can convince their body, police officers, I do this with all the time, but people you can imagine that have been in a heightened state of arousal because they've served overseas or they've, sort of their body doesn't believe that the world is safe. Kids in foster care, all of these things. If I can get them to relax, all they want to do is sleep because they've not indicated to their body that actually they're safe. He's safe. You haven't done that for a long time. That state is something that we're going to have to get good at practicing. And so once you feel it and you know where it is, it's like, how do we indicate that to our bodies more and more? And so I say, do little things like this as a coach. Put the word shoulders on your computer, on a sticky note on your computer screen, on your bathroom mirror, in your car. Every time you see it, it's that sort of notice to your body that, is he safe right now? Can it get back to the best in me? When you are here, access to the best parts of you. You know how to coach these kids. You know that the parent pushback is because they're scared they're failing their own babies. We ask this question all the time. This is what the kids at the Children's Hospital taught me. I was trained to ask this question. What is wrong with this one? Right? He's a hitter, he's a kicker, he's a biter. He doesn't have a good shot. He's whatever. What's wrong with this one? We never ask what happened to this one. And that's where stuff. When we ask what happened, it evokes in us this empathy. You can feel the shift. Instead of, he's an attention-seeking, manipulative liar. That little shit's going to get benched.
Yeah.
Like, man, mom and dad are going through a divorce. His sister's in prison. He's never seen, his girlfriend just told him he's a piece of shit and his best friend killed himself. Okay.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
doesn't excuse or condone behavior. It doesn't excuse or condone the fact that you're late or that you're being a bully on the ice. It means that I now have access to the best parts of me to walk you home.
Yeah. It's
So
that question, what happened to you, right? It's like, that
it's fine, but
Bruce
what
Perry
happened?
talks about in the book. Yeah, what
Mhm.
happened to that person? Go back to real quick, this just even like the self-care thing, because like I definitely fell into that trap. Like, not that I'm, doing this all the time, but man, I had so much stress maybe 2 months ago. Finish up this new book and, just worn out. And I mean, I could just feel it. It was painful in my shoulder. So what I do, I spent, $80, went and got a Thai massage for, Thai woman beat the crap out of me. It just, but it's like, some of these things are just so simple coming back to day in and day out throughout your day, using these things to help regulate ourselves before we step onto that, the practice field or the court or like those things are so important. Cause I think about just even yesterday, I was coaching a practice and I was stressed. I was tense. I was not the coach I wanted to be for my kids. And it's like, I wrote down in my journal later that night. I was like, you must give yourself 1 minute before you walk out of that car just to like
Aw,
regulate, right?
how amazing are you? And this is James Clear talks a lot about this too, as you know, right? It's like sort of that habit of how do I step into the best parts of me before I give anything to these life sucking kids? Because if I'm stepping in there and I'm already mad, I'm losing access to the best parts of me. And so it's like those cues, right? And sometimes it is, it's the front door of the gym every time you see it.
Hmm.
Mine is the garage door. We park our cars in the garage. So every time before I come in, there's always a 15-second pause because my kids don't need to take all of the stuff that I hung on to with my patients today. So
Hmm.
I need to be able to do that. And here's the thing, the most important people you work for are the ones you go home to.
Hmm.
Whatever we do as coaches, whatever we do in our professional lives, it's a job, right? We're replaceable. Somebody's going to do this podcast after we're gone. Somebody's going to write books on coaching and leadership and, help to do all of these things when we're gone. This is a job. Who we go home to matters most. And so
Hmm.
just being able to regulate me gives me the best out of the life that I really deserve. Do you want to know the most vulnerable emotion on the planet?
Yeah, love it. I was going to try to
People,
guess in my head, but you go
yeah.
ahead with it.
Well, people say this all the time. It's obviously it's shame, a grief, or sadness. The most vulnerable emotion on the planet is joy.
Mm.
And what I'm most interested on teams is how much joy there is. How much do I hear belly laughter?
Why is that the most vulnerable emotion? I've got some good questions for you on this one here. I want to know more about this one.
Yeah, this is Brene Brown's work. It is really around the fact that when you are in joy, all of your defenses are down.
Oh, wow.
Anything could happen to you. And I say this all the time, right? You can't belly laugh with a flip lid. It's neurobiologically impossible. So I have access to the best in me and I'm relaxed, which means I'm listening in a dressing room. How do I create joy? Things like nicknames, things like everybody's phone goes in a basket and nobody has access to it 1 hour before game time. How do I get access to being silly and funny? And it's like I'm watching Marty St. Louis right now take our Canadians to the best, our greatest hope for a cup. I really need this to happen. If you watch some of the best moments of Izzo, if you watch some of the best moments of even the most like strict people, they have fun. They
Mhm.
find joy, and even when they lose, especially when they lose, what do you do with that emotion? It becomes really critical. So this is the going in part that I think about all the time. The second part to that is going out, which means that's where we give it away. That's
Okay.
where we sort of give back. And I'll give you a really easy thing to do. When I grew up in Viking, Alberta, Canada, when you drove down the main street, there's no stoplights. There's just two stop signs. I was required and still am required to wave at everybody. Okay. So if I didn't wave, there would be a meeting at the Legion and somebody would call my dad and be like, "What the hell is going on with Jody? Who she thinks she is? She's drove down Main Street, she's not waving at nobody." Okay. So even if you waving, everybody. And even if you don't really, I mean, my husband's a farmer, so he waves like with one finger. Okay. It's not, you don't have to get
Yeah.
crazy about it, but
They
you're
do that around here.
right. But you're
Yeah.
acknowledging each other. The second I
Yeah.
get into the city, I stop. The second I get
Mm.
anywhere, and the same group of humans, right? We're all walking each other home. So now what I want you to think about is giving it away to the best of your ability in this very lonely epidemic. You can not only change a life, you could save it. So on your way into the rink or the court, I want you to wave at every stop line. And where are you right now? What
I'm
city are
actually in
you?
Ireland. Yeah. I'm originally from the States. I know you keep going your country, my country, and
Oh, I'm
US
so
is my country.
sorry.
No, you're good. US is my country too, but I've been
Ireland is the
adopted by the
best.
Irish too.
We spent a month in Ireland with our kids last summer.
So,
Dublin is fantastic, but I'll tell you what, Northern Ireland has my heart.
uh,
Belfast. And so when we think about, even if I look about the different cultures, every night we would go to a pub, somebody would have their dog in there and they would
mhm,
chat to you. There is a massive difference that if I step into the US and I started talking to somebody, I scare the shit out of them, right? If I
uh,
wave at somebody, they're like, what? Hey, what, me? What? You think about the capacity to give somebody a compliment, right? You walk up to somebody today, and honestly, one of the most incompetent, lonely groups right now are parents, particularly young.
mhm.
Shoulder drop there, JP. I noticed
I
that.
know, yeah. I'm working on it. I'm already working on it. I'm not even off the call here. I'm like, keep working on these shoulder straps.
And then we're so much better when we're regulated. Then I can give it away all day. If I'm dysregulated, I don't want to be nice to anybody. I am
Mhm,
road raging. I'm telling everybody to shut up. I'm mad. So the issue isn't them, it's me. So that's why you have to put it on relentless repeat. Go in, go out, and put that on relentless repeat. That's it. That's the story of being remarkably, incredibly human these days. Is we need that script to remind ourselves that home matters first, coming back here. And then you have access to all the best in us. Our privilege as humans, when we step into positions of leadership or coaching, is somebody showed us how to do it. And now we
mhm,
better use it. I want my kids to see me love what I do. I want my kids to watch me waving at people. I want my kids to watch me fight with their dad and then repair it. I can't
mhm.
tell them how to be a great partner. I have to show them.
Yeah,
And the more
yeah.
disconnected we are, the larger our houses are. I mean, I text our kids when supper's ready, right? You think about the square footage of the house that my father was raised in, right? The size of the bed that our grandparents slept in. I mean, if you had a knockdown shoot 'em out, you have to figure your shit out. Now, my personal husband and I, we got a king size bed. I don't even know where he is most of the time. Right?
My wife doesn't like sleeping in the room because I she says I snore too much. So she's in the room at her room half the time.
And so then there needs to be a makeup for that
Mm,
process in a way that
mm,
says, we're still wired for connection.
yeah.
We're still wired to figure each other out, to be in the same physical place, and our neurochemistry matches each other's. And
Mm,
I think that's going to be the greatest call to action in this next generation is how do we re-engage on purpose? This thing
mm,
that makes us feel the best about being human has never been updated. And I would say this as coaches, I have the greatest admiration for people who volunteer. I think my greatest wish is to protect them because it is the holiest of work. You are holding usually dysregulated parents. You are walking babies through massive joy when you win, and despair and tears and disappointment. How you respond to that matters because you're giving them a
mm,
script on how they're going to do that with their own babies or their own teams. It is the holiest work on the planet. I am so grateful to anybody who volunteers their time. I know it's heartbreaking these days. I mean, I think I said this on the other show with your friends. I was like, my son just got cut from his hockey team last year, and he, previously played on the A team, got cut. Who had to cut him was his best friend's dad, who was a former NHL guy. And he was like, oh God, like, I can't, this is, what do I do? And I'm like, he's like, I'm not sleeping. I'm like, but hey, look at my eyes. This is U15B. We're going to be okay. Huh? We still love you. We still love your boy. Like, and again, it's then so many times people are put in these positions where they're just like, it's wrecking them. And like, come on, man. Like, we're we're prepping kids to be great humans. That's our
yeah,
first order
yeah.
of business. And we need to remind the parents and the coaches that we're just all in this together, you know?
Mm,
And
mm.
we forget that sometimes. I've never seen such dysregulation, and including in myself. I mean, those signs in hockey rinks that say be kind to the refs and don't yell, that's for me because I flip my lid all the time. When somebody cross checks my kid into the board, I'm like, what the, So again, it's not that it's not going to happen. That's the issue. It's how we respond when it does, when the big
Yeah.
emotion comes, because it's part of it. It's necessary. The dysregulation is necessary to teach it how to be calm. Chaos is necessary to teach the calm. It's not to avoid it. It's what we do to have a plan when it happens.
So there's one topic I need to explore with you before I let you go today. This has just been an amazing conversation. It's just been an honor, like listening to you and just taking all this in. It's been, I'm just grateful for how much you see the value of, you said it's not even a coach centered approach, it's a human centered approach, and just how the obstacles that we're facing are really, really big. But a coach listening to this might be like, this is great, Jody. This is fantastic. Yeah, we need to love people. We need to be more connected. We need more grounded. But we also need discipline. We need accountability. Like, when I grew up, that we had that. You're talking a lot about support. And I know this is an area that you have a lot to say into. So could you tell us a little bit around your philosophy around accountability, discipline, being a demanding coach? Because we know that is also really, really important to deal with.
Yes. We have the pendulum has swung, okay, from a strict behavioral model where we're punishing kids, taking shit away, doing all the things. And, the data around that is like it's damaging, especially if there's no relationship. So we swung the opposite pendulum, which is like soft parenting and gentle shit and giving everybody a medal. That is such a waste of time, okay? But there's two ways we need to think about. It is about collecting and then directing. It's not if I'm going to give that feedback, it's when. It's
Mhm.
not if I have the highest standards on my teams, always, right? Here's my expectation of you. You be on time, you show up, you look good, you represent this team well. I will do that too. Any expectation I have of you, I also will follow. Okay. If phones are out of our dressing room 30 minutes before game time, you can very well guess that I have no access to mine either. Okay.
Mhm.
How I set those standards of practice mean I need to rise. And when I fail, when I screw up and scream and do something like that, then I'm coming back to my team first to apologize. And then I'm apologizing in front of them. Okay. Whatever
Mhm.
that looks
Mhm.
like. Because I can't tell them, I got to show them. When you disappoint me, when I think you didn't rise to your expectation, when I think you could be better and do better, it is not if I'm going to have that conversation, it's when and it's how. And my rule of practice in my head, based on all the neuroscience, is I'm going to collect before I direct.
Mhm.
So I am going to, if safety is an issue and you're being a dick to everybody in the room, all bets are off. Okay. I'm not collecting and being nice. Okay. So
Yeah, yeah.
I reserve the right to say that if kids feel unsafe on my team, that I am the one who will be the heavy. Full stop. This happened in about 0.5% of my responsibility as a coach. Okay. We think it's about 75. It's not. It's very small that
Mhm.
all bets have to be off because I have to look after somebody or I have to draw a line in the sand. Okay. The other rest of the time is I'm going to do a lot of my time investing in understanding what makes these kids tick. What do they love? What's the name of this guy's dog? Is he a gamer? She's really into whatever. Her favorite artist is Billie Eilish. Awesome. I'm going to know some of those things because I'll tell you what, here's what you're up against as a coach. And I always threaten or not threaten. I always fear to say these things because I don't want to ever dissuade any coach because we need you now more than ever. We've never had so many kids come from single parent households. We have less access to grandparent and grandparent-like figures, and we have less siblings. We're growing up with less siblings, which means I have less access to a kid's emotional regulation now when they come into a dressing room than ever before, which means I
Mhm.
have to start thinking about knowing them and regulating them more than ever. Okay. I say this across education, across, in the UK, in Ireland, in the US, in Canada, all the same things apply. We now have to change the way we operate a little bit. We need to think about regulating nervous systems before we just get on the ice or get on the court. We never had to do that before. Not because
Mhm.
there's anything wrong with kids or anything wrong with the ISOs of the world. It's because we're now working and operating in a world that didn't exist before. So I
Mhm.
want you to think about some of those things that are going to matter so much, collect, and then direct. I can tell you at the Children's Hospital, when I would have the kids that would lose their minds the most, hit, kick, bite, scream, hurt me, hurt other people, they would never, if I had a relationship with them, even in their most
Mhm.
dysregulated state, they would stop short of doing that because there was a relationship in place. It's not to avoid the conflict. It's not to never yell at a kid. It's if and when. Did you do the work of investing in who those babies are? Did people, things like this, did kids have a nickname? Do you know, again, their dog? Is there a joyful sort of experience about, how we sort of celebrate people on the team? What do we do as all of that team building stuff really still matters, particularly in a disconnected place. How do I bring you together? Then it gives you so much more credibility when, not if, everybody's going to need feedback.
Mm, mm. It's so true. I did 2 practices, with my daughter's team. They're all a bunch of 10-year-olds. Well, yesterday we did what I call fronting, which we just run around and we share stuff that starts with F. So it was like something you like to do for fun, something you find in a friend, that you like in a friend, and the other was something about your family, and you were partnered up, and we were just like we started practice that way. It was like connecting. I made up fronting right off the bat there because I was just like it was like let's go with a lot of F's here today. But I'm done. I just pick a letter and just let's share. But that's that connection. That's that sharing. We went for the run and we get in there. Like my gosh, the connection, the listening was so much better than 2 weeks prior to that. All right, that's girls. I need to start bringing it to the boys. Under nines team for sure. It's just the value of connection. Then you have that conversation where you pull, a kid aside because he's being really disruptive, and it feels totally different for them, right? It's not even like what I'm saying. It's the context of it's not the content of what I'm saying. It's the context. The context, the relationship has changed.
And the ones who need it the most are the hardest to give it to.
Oh, yeah.
It's the ones that are regulated and easy, that come to practice early, and they look good. They bring you snacks. Those are the ones that we're like, oh, tell me more. The ones that are Jackson with an X, that are leaving their shit all over the dressing room and swearing on the bench and, all the things. I have so many stories, and I know you do too, about the
Yeah.
kids that you'll never forget. And I mean, I fell in love with my husband so dramatically when we co-coached a team once, and I wanted to throw a punch him most of the time because you can imagine we coach very differently. And he ended up having this he had this kid's heart who was the toughest on the team. Nobody wanted to coach this guy, and for some reason, it was something about this kid. And it's usually our own histories. They spark something in us. Either they trigger us, or we see they look like our little brother, or he's somebody that we needed a heart for. And this kid, he just saw all the best in him. He would lay down during a drill on the ice. And so I look over and my husband's laying down on the ice with him. They're making snow angels, and this kid would skate through walls for him. And
Mm.
at the end of the season, nobody else. And at the end of the season, they moved away, and his mom, we still kept it. It wrote a Christmas card to my husband that just said, "Nobody's seen my kid like you."
Mm.
And it's those moments that that is why we do what we do, not to win any
Yeah.
banner. I mean, we have, as you know, I mean, your kids as well too, I'm sure, lots of medals. We throw them away. I mean, in the moment, it felt like the biggest deal of all time.
Yeah.
But it's they remember the swimming pools. They remember the bus rides. They remember, parents going down the water slides in their jeans, which may or may not have happened in Lethbridge, Alberta, where the parents got kicked out of the pool. It's those kind of things that are written into the stories that become really important. That's what sport gives us right now, community, in a time where we've never needed it so much.
That's just so beautiful. It for me, it's like sometimes the kids that drive me crazy. I'm like, what are these parents teaching these kids? It's like that maybe that's why they really need this, is because
Promise
maybe
you
they
those
don't have that
parents are the
structure.
human on. I promise you. I promise you, you're greatest. And again, people then get worried, when we start talking about this. Oh my God, I got to look after the parents. No, buddy, give me the best you can with what you got, and I promise you, it's enough. But it's some of those babies that struggle the most when you have a relationship with the parent. That is the greatest investment of your time, because oftentimes we have those parents that are fight, flight freezers. So you come off the bench and you have a hard conversation with the kid. They're going to go to that dad that's going to be like, oh, what? You don't have to listen to him.
Mhm.
And if I invest sort of, 10 minutes and sort of saying to this dad, hey, I'm so glad I got your kid on my team. I
Mm.
know you struggled with, ice time or play time, and talk to me about it. Because here's what I love about your kid. Okay. And
Mm.
here's how we're going to operate a little bit. How does that feel for you? And then now when that kid comes off that game and he didn't play for whatever reason, the dad's going to be like, listen, you listen to JP. Okay. You don't have to listen to any of those other assholes, but you listen. So now I've cut my battle in half,
Yeah.
because I'm building the relationship in the village for this baby. He doesn't have to put up with dad and then try to please me at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it feels like a lot of work, and you do the best you can with what you got. I mean, honestly, you don't have to do this for every kid, because every kid doesn't need it.
Yeah.
But you'll know, if I took every coach listening to this right now, I would just say, give me the 2 kids you're worried about the most. those are the ones I need you to know the most about.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. No, it's the parent becomes our best partner, their best co-coach because you're really we're trying to work together to raise good human beings. So, it's one of my book right behind me there, right over there, The Coach's Guide to Sports Parents. It's all about how coaches need to partner with parents. So,
Oh yeah. So now you need
it's
to be on my podcast. We're going to switch that. Stay tuned. But yeah, that's great, JP. I cannot
yeah,
wait to read that because I think that's what everybody needs right now. We're trying the best to
yeah.
do for our babies, and we just get so mad when they don't get played.
I know. But I always try to finish everything with just, "Hey, thanks for allowing me to coach your kid."
Oh,
Like, because
right?
it is a privilege. It is we should be grateful. We get to do this work, and so I'm getting excited just talking with you. This has been amazing. Our listeners are gonna be, like, really, really rocked by you, and they're gonna wanna connect with you in some capacity. What's the simplest way for them to reach out and follow you? And then maybe there's a way to reach out if they felt like you might be I wanna hire you to come speak at my club down here. So, like, if they wanted to do more with you potentially.
Yes, I will come to Ireland for free right now. So whenever you need me, I'm your girl. But everything's at drjodycarrington.com. So we have a website and we're busy on socials and there's lots and lots of resources there, lots of videos that are all yours. I'd love your community to be a part of ours.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for the guys spending your afternoon or morning. Yeah, you're still in the morning there time
Yeah.
there with me today. So thank you.
Thanks, JP.
All right, that was an incredibly powerful conversation. I mean, it's just June 22nd, over a month since I interviewed Dr. Jody. Just a little bit of background for you. I typically record the episode or the conversation, then we do the notes, and then I come back and review the notes to kind of record this intro and outro. But I remember immediately after my conversation with Dr. Jody, I felt compelled. Like I felt compelled to make some changes. I mean, I started. Heck, I started literally in the conversation. I started to try to make changes within my body by relaxing my jaw and shoulders. And I think Dr. Jody pointed that out. But I'm still working on that. Like sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, I'm trying to make those shifts. The other thing change that I made that's significant is I've been going really, really hard for some time now at my work. And I'm constantly looking to do more and more. I get these ideas and I want to run with. Well, I think Dr. Jody came at a time that I was very aware that this was starting to lead to me not operating at my best. Burnout would be a strong word. I wouldn't say it's burnout, but I'm not the best coach for my coaches that I'm working with. I'm not the best leader for the people that I'm leading. I'm not serving people as well as I could be, and particularly and most importantly for my kids. Right. So when I heard Dr. Jody say like the most important people you work for are the ones you go home to, like I was kind of taken back. I was also kind of inspired. And so one personal hack that I have around inspiration though, is I don't let it fade, right? If I feel inspired, I try to take at least one action, and that action that I try to pick can be like a domino. And so I took a few quick actions that have been dominoes. So when I go back and I look at these notes a month later, I have to say I'm honestly feeling pretty good. I've started to take some significant steps into creating that margin and setting up more boundaries in my life. So I hope if you were inspired by Dr. Jody, that you take some new actions today. I hope you try to let that inspiration not just fade, but it be used for something for good. In particular, maybe it's for the people that are most important to you in your life. Thank you again to Dr. Jody, not just for coming to the podcast, but just for sharing her story, her journey, her work with myself and with all of you. Check out her podcast, her books, her articles at drjodycarrington.com. And thank you for listening in. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to the podcast, leave us a review, and share this episode if you found it valuable.